The talk about today is about why your baby wakes up exactly 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes after you put it to sleep, or after you place it in the bed. Because these topics come from where the moms always tell me, oh, I'm amazed what's happening at the moment. My baby is like, he got a watch, and exactly every 60 minutes is waking up on the clock, or 40 minutes. For some mothers, this is so amazing. It just they actually can't believe it, no? Because they put the baby to bed, and then 40 minutes later is exactly the same situation. When I'm going to talk about the reasons, and these reasons are very true, and I will ask you to observe your baby. Okay, the first reason I'm going to tell you is because your baby is falling on the breast while is breastfeeding. The baby falls asleep on the breast, and then what happened? Well, many reasons, and some of the other reasons why your baby is waking up like a clock is because no? When baby falls asleep on the breast, what happens? It falls asleep carefully, you try to detach the baby from the breast, and what happens? You suddenly wake up the baby, or you put baby asleep, but what happened? You didn't burp the baby, you didn't take the gases out, or the air, however you want to call it. You didn't finish feeding it properly. You sort of caught it, you're just sort of waiting for the baby to fall asleep. And another one is obviously the baby, when it's attached to your breast or latched to your breast, is very comfy, very warm, and is feeling yourself, no? Is feeling the mother, the warmth of the mother. And then what happened? And this happens at different time, because the babies and everybody is different. Different babies digest food differently. Different babies go through sleep cycles differently, and this is the average that it changes. Let's say you have a baby that wakes up every 30 minutes. What happened? Okay, I detach my baby from the breast, I put it to sleep, and then I didn't burp it. The first thing that is going to wake up the baby is the burp. The gas that is in the stomach is trying to come out, and that's the first waking up. 30 minutes later, then you run to baby, you try to make a burp, but it's awake. Then you think you should give a breast again, and that's what you do. You put it back in the breast, and then the baby falls asleep again. Same situation, didn't feed properly, you didn't burp it. Now this time you put baby, and then what happened? Maybe the gas, maybe not, but maybe this time the baby did a wee or had to do a poo, and then it wakes up again 30 minutes after. Then what happened? You run to the baby, go to the baby, trying to change it, it's awake again, and then you think, oh, it needs to sleep, I'm going to put it in the breast again. And then you start going through this cycle on and on and on and on, and it's very hard to get out of it, because it sometimes can be, you think it's hungry, but it's not really, it's the gas. Sometimes it's because it has a wet or dirty nappy. And then another one is because it's changing in the sleep cycle, it's going through a very light sleep cycle, or the peak of very light sleep, and it realizes you're not there, and then the cycle starts again. This is something that happens really often, and in most of the cases this is the reason why babies wake up so much through the night. Obviously this situation happens in different amount of time. It can happen 30 minutes, half an hour, different. Okay, so let's be careful with this. Let's be very careful when these situations happen. So another reason why your baby might not be sleeping completely, let me do sleeping through the night, is because one of the reasons we talked before is because the baby has a gas in the tummy, and needs to digest, needs to burp, and this happens all the time that you're breastfeeding. And obviously we're talking about that cycle that we are not allowed to repeat. If you breastfeed a baby when it's fully awake, when it's just waking up from a sleep, you make sure the baby has enough time to release all these gases, to have an activity, to digest, and then you are not going to suffer from this. Another reason that babies are going to be waking like a clock, 30, 40, 60 minutes, is the reflexes. The reflexes that baby has are natural. We cannot avoid it. We cannot get rid of them. They will happen. However, for newborns, it's recommended to have the baby wrap. Even if it's summer, the baby will sleep much more comfortable. There are mothers that can swear that the babies don't like to be wrapped, or they not like to be tied up. I agree, some babies don't like it, but if you make sure your baby is secure on the bedding, like when you put the bedding, it's very tucked in on the sides, and the baby has the arms next to the body, you can avoid those reflexes, because one of the reflexes is always to lift the arms and then suddenly jump, and those reflexes are going to wake up the baby different times. And let's say the first time the baby fell asleep attached to the breast, then wake up for a gas, then you put it back again, breastfeeding, and is waking up because it has a reflex. Then the next time, so imagine how many waking ups through the night we're going to have if we carry on all these situations. So we need to be careful. So always well grab. If it's older baby, sometimes they sell pajamas depending on the weather where you are. They sell pajamas or little sleeping bags that can have the arms inside. There are many resources, mommies, to avoid these reflexes to wake up your baby. Okay, so let's look for it. Let's do research. If you are not so sure and you need advice, please reach out to me, and I will help you. Another one is because the baby falls asleep in the arms, and I talked about that before. The one when you are breastfeeding the baby, when your baby falls asleep on arms, is always that warmth, that feeling, that smell that you, mother, have, that the baby is going to miss and is going to realize it is needed. Not all the babies are the same, but some need it more than others, and some are very scared to realize you are not next to them, or to realize that they are somewhere else rather than the place that they fall asleep. This is a very easy example that I always put with you as an adult. If you have a partner and you used to sleep with your partner, and then some nights he's not there, you wake up lightly, and then you suddenly feel he's not there, you actually wake up to look and find out if he is or not in your bed. When you realize the partner is not in the bed, what do? Oh, you actually feel really scared, and then you suddenly think where he is in the toilet, is in the kitchen, is out, is not here. You actually, before you actually fall asleep, you sort of need to make sure where your partner is and assume that it's okay, and then fall asleep. You do this because you're an adult, but imagine if you're a baby that have no idea what to do when this situation happens. Well, when you are an adult and you don't know, when you're a baby and you don't know, the baby get very scared and it's just looking for the mother. So that's why we also recommend the babies to fall asleep on their own in their cot, to have that ability, because if they have lightly wake ups through the night or sudden wake ups through the night, the baby can fall asleep on their own and without being scared or have that anxiety of looking for you. And the last reason, and very true, why the babies wake up like a clock is because they use a dummy or pacifier, however you want to call it. The dummy pacifier is one of the biggest tools used for mothers in order to soothe a baby or make them calm. It's very beneficial, but I always said to the mothers, keep using it if it's helpful for you, if it's helping your baby sleep deep and faster. But as soon as the pacifiers start becoming the reason why your baby is waking up, it's time to take it off. How can you tell this? Well, when your baby is completely attached to the dummy, and every time it falls out, it cries, that's one of the reasons when you need to start assessing if it's doing good for your baby or not. when you forget and the baby cannot fall asleep, when you are waking up every time 30 minutes, 40 minutes or 60 minutes after, and the baby needs that dummy. This is one of the biggest situations that mothers encounter, and it's exactly when we need to assess. Some dummies and some pacifiers work for the children. They actually make them go into very deep sleep, but some not. Some, every time they're trying to get into that over that wave of light sleep to very deep, the dummy sort of falls out, and what happened? Oh, the baby wakes up and starts screaming, actually falls completely, and then it's hard to go back to sleep. Some sleep consultants, I will mention this, recommend that you put many dummies in the cot, and so baby gets used to it, find one and put it back in the mouth. When the baby is used to that and you agree with that, you can do it. I have nothing against it. However, I just in my mind, in order to teach a child to get over situations or get a very, very good sleep habit, what is the benefit of having many dummies, looking after them, clean them, have a good sanitizing? What is the point to have all this? I reckon any person, including children and babies, should be able to sleep on their own, have a peaceful, restful night without that worry of looking for something around the cot. Mummies, if your situation is this one, if you have one of these issues that I just mentioned before and you want to overcome, please reach out. I'm happy to help anyone. I'm happy to have a little chat with you and see if I can help just with advice. If what you're looking is for more deep advice and assessment and perhaps coaching, then we can look into one of our packages. Okay, well, this is all I have today for learning to sleep. We can overcome all these situations. They are very easy, obviously. Easy to identify when someone else mentions what is the cycle or what is the situation that is happening. So reach out, always happy to help, and see you next week in Learning to Sleep. Bye.